Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Truman Show, where we're watching you from above and you're living in a facade. Now, welcome back to the Lost Boyz Podcast. Gianni,
Brandon,
welcome. Make sure to like. I feel like I did this last week, but I feel like I haven't done this in like months.
It's been a long ass week, yeah.
It was a long week. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the post notifications so you get notified every time we post, which is every Thursday at 12 p.m. All right, Paulo? So make sure you know that. Even if I don't put it on my Instagram story. Follow the TikTok, Lost Boyz Podcast. And if you want to follow us on social media, it's down below in the description as well. Am I missing anything else?
Oh, no, we got TikTok.
I really feel like I haven't done it in like a month. It really feels like it's been a long time. It's been 1 week.
Literally just 1 week.
I know, like to the T, 1 week.
Yeah.
Anyways, with that being said, today's topic is
top skills to learn. This episode can apply to anybody at any age, whether you're 18 and don't know if you want to go to college, or if you're 30 and looking for a career change. These are just some fields that we think are growing and that you don't need a degree to get into and that make decent money. So,
agreed. So I don't even know where I have a list. He has a list too. I kind of don't know which one to start with.
I'll start with this before we get into like the actual like fields. When I was going into college, right, for the said 18-year-old or for the 25-year-old who doesn't have a degree, you got to look at things in the world where it's like, you know what? What are things without that, bachelor's degree barrier to entry, which I think is so much fucking bullshit for most fields. Granted, if you're a lawyer, cool, I respect it. But so what we focused on here was things you can get into without a degree. And
actually, before you jump in real quick, I just want to say the reason why college degrees became such a big thing is because the millennials were like baby boomers, how they were just like a boom of new babies. And there were so many of them that it became hard to get jobs in the early 2000s for them. And so what many of them did was go to college because they had a diploma, it gave them leverage over the other people to get in first. And everybody saw that and was like, okay, we're all going to college now. And that's when really college became expensive because there was such a high demand for it. And that's why a private university is like $70,000 a year now. Fun fact. It was the millennials that fucked it up for us, Gen Zs.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's really why college became so expensive and why degrees became required, because you had a group of people there were so many people, and then these people with degrees were getting the job, so everybody was like, fuck that, I'm getting a degree so I could get a job too. And then everybody started going to school, so now you need a master's degree to like stand out in today's time, because everybody gets the bachelor's. It's like a high school diploma now. So it's not really that important. Well, I shouldn't say it's not that important. It depends, but I don't know.
Look,
I don't value it as much as some other people do.
Agreed.
I think it's subjective, but
agreed. It's kind of one of those things like, if you have your degree, cool. If you don't, cool.
I also don't think it defines your intelligence or your capabilities as a human. Because I know some people who have got their masters. Actually, I shouldn't say masters. I don't. I know people who have their masters, but they're actually intelligent people. I know people who got their bachelors, though, that are idiots. And they only got it because it doesn't require that much skill and knowledge to obtain. Like, the information's there. All you have to do is memorize it and you get it. But
I remember, I think it was Gary Vee one time said, why he doesn't look for people with degrees for his jobs is because to him, what a degree says was you were good at taking orders for 4 years rather than getting out and getting experience and things like that.
Exactly. I agree.
Somebody who was hands-on in a startup for 4 years, granted, they may have been like a fake intern versus somebody who got their bachelor's in business administration. The person who had the bullshit job but with 4 years experience has
it's way more qualified.
Yeah. They have actual experience. You know how much bullshit it is? Oh, entry level job experience needed. What the fuck? Like,
yeah. But it's because so many people have the degrees now.
Mm-hmm.
They need something else to stand out. But yeah, I don't know. I also, like, even in high school, like the AP classes, like I knew some kids in AP that were like book smart when it came to books, meaning they like studied and remembered information pretty much is all that meant. Because when it came to like street smarts and like just common knowledge, they were oblivious to life. I'm like, what? So don't think just because somebody has a degree it automatically makes them intelligent or more qualified than you, or like they could speak over you because of that. Does not mean that at all. Because trust me, just because you have a degree does not make you smart, and it doesn't make you better than the next person who doesn't have one. Because the person who doesn't have one may have more life experience and more knowledge and more everything and be way more intelligent and have higher IQ, all that stuff. It doesn't, having a degree does not equate to a significant level of knowledge. Is it beneficial for knowledge? Yes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically smarter and more qualified than somebody else. Also, just because you have a degree in a specific topic doesn't mean you can now talk about any topic and be like, oh, because I have my degree, I'm smarter than you. Also, sometimes there's people who don't have the degree in your topic and your major that might know more knowledge than you do. So don't be like, oh no, you can't know more than me because I had a degree in it. It's like, okay, the degree only teaches you so much. It's when you go beyond that's when you really start learning and stuff. But anyways, it could go both ways. Like, there could be people who are more qualified and smarter, and there could be people who are not. Just don't carry yourself as if you're better than the next just because you have it. Be proud of yourself, but don't be an asshole either.
Yeah. It's an amplifier at most.
Yeah.
If you're good at fucking psychology and you have a psychology degree, dope. It's just going to amplify you. If you're really good at psychology and you don't have a degree, but yet you can, let's say, land an internship somewhere, dope. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not the make or break. It's just something to benefit or like amplify just a little more.
Exactly.
But put you in a lifetime of that.
Anyways,
but that's a conversation
besides,
for another time.
Besides that little rant,
yep.
What were you going to start with?
So, I feel like the first one I have down is basic. I'm going to start with the trades. The different routes you can go in trades and trade schools. Like, I'm not exactly sure how much like apprenticeship is required for each, but things like if you have to go for a few months or a year of, let's say, schooling, but not like the traditional route, but something like an apprenticeship, something like being a carpenter, where you don't need a college degree, but you have the wild starting salary of $71,000.
Actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, in doing research for this episode, I saw that. I was like, yo, god damn. Like, it's because this is my rule. And with any of the salaries that you hear us discuss in this episode, this is my way of looking at salaries. You can form your own way. You can form your own way. I look at salaries as like, this is my allotted income to fund something else.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a great mindset to have.
Let's say you're getting $71,000. It's like, I'm going to do this job. I'm going to receive this money. Now, what can I do with this money? What can I fund with this money? What can I start? What side hustles? What like investments? Things like that. At the end of the day, wow, I just watched all the monitors turn off. It's probably still recording. At the end of the day, it's, all right, what's my next step? I always like to say the lowest hanging fruit. All right, I got a new job. I have new income. What's the lowest hanging fruit that I can get to make moves towards a side hustle or not needing this job anymore? Or, you know what job stands for, right?
Just over broke.
There you go.
Yeah, I know you know where I got it from. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I heard that. I was like, I like that. J-O-B, just over broke.
Actually, so lately, the last few episodes, I've been putting key takeaways in all the descriptions. That's gonna be one of them. I fuck with that. Just over broke.
If you haven't heard where it's from yet, you'll soon find out where it is.
I know it's from.
Okay.
Do they know where it's from?
They definitely do not. I shouldn't say definitely, but I don't think they know where we got it from. They may have heard it from somewhere else, but not from the same source as us.
But look.
Possible. If you think you know, comment down below.
But exactly, just over broke, right? And this is also with all of these, because we're talking about jobs, it's like with all these fields, there's no way around it unless you put this money towards something else to hedge against your salary. You're paying a shit ton of taxes.
Yeah.
Like, for example, here's another example. Let's say that same person who's a carpenter makes $71,000, right? Let me break out the calculator. Like, everybody has a different set of finances, and this is obviously going to be a rough estimation because we're going pre-tax. Oh, there you go. Let's say you saved 15% of your income. That's $11,000 at the end of the year. Now, $11,000 isn't, condo and bricko money. But you know what? $11,000, that could be buying a car for Turo. That could be a down payment on different, let's say...
Depending on the price of a property.
Yeah, like $150,000 property.
Yeah.
FHA, 3.5%. Like, you start realizing, holy shit, I can actually do things with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot you can do with $11,000 to get the ball rolling on something. You could fucking start an Amazon business if you wanted to with $11,000.
Yeah, you could do a lot. I think job, at least in my personal opinion, is a good way to get the funds to do the things that can bring more funds. It's a good way to get a second stream it's a good way to use the money to get a second stream of income, and then using the second stream of income to then get you like on a passion project or something like that. But I think trying to solidify 2 streams of income is very important in the beginning. That's something I'm trying to do now. I have 1 stream of income. I'm trying to get a second one going. And if this takes off soon, hopefully, within a year or 2, that'll be 3, and then keep adding on to like that and just finding different sources of income, just so all my money's not focused on one spot, because it's not the safest bet either. Because my sense of my money, my lifestyle, everything is all based on the decision of somebody else. If somebody feels that I'm inadequate, I lose it all. And I don't know, for me, that's just not... That doesn't sound like security to me.
Oh, dude.
I think it's more secure if I'm in control of how the money's being made and where it's being made.
It doesn't even have to be somebody deeming you inadequate, right? Look at March of 2020. There were people that were probably expecting raises that month for their exceeding their expectations and quotas. Bam, COVID, market crashes. Guess what? Sorry, we no longer have the business to pay for this. You're getting laid off.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people lost their jobs during COVID.
Yeah.
So you could do everything right. And this is actually one of the rules in the psychology of money, where it's like, don't underestimate the power of luck, because to an extent, everybody gets lucky. Yeah. You're like, for example, you watching this right now, you're lucky right now that you didn't die today, because a lot of people did, right? It uses the example of Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates earned his success, but he's lucky to have been one of a few hundred kids in the world that went to high school that had a computer.
Yeah.
So there is some level of luck that plays into everybody's life. The fact that there isn't, who knows, maybe we wake up tomorrow and another quarantine because monkeypox version 14 has come out, right? Like
iOS 14. Monkeypox 14.
Which, by the way, if they wanted to do another quarantine, I'm not going to lie, I'm not against it. Saved a lot of money during quarantine.
I did too.
But anyways, besides the point, you don't underestimate the power of the world and just how unexpected life is.
Yeah.
You could do everything right, and all of a sudden, bam, you're just over broke. Stability just got taken away.
Yeah. So like for me, So this, I'm gonna get into it now with like, because I have the trades here too, but I wrote down 3 specific ones that I think are really good and like key. But before I get into it, I think like having a job, they always say like everybody wants to go the safe route, like get a job, a good job, be secure and all that stuff. I honestly think that when I think about it, me personally, I think a job is less secure than if you try to get something on your own. And even if that means you have to work harder and work more, but you're getting the money for yourself and you're your own boss in a sense, I think that is way more secure than a job, because you know you're in full control of the money you're making. Like the amount of money you have is completely upon yourself. And in a job, it's not always like that. Like you said, like at any point you can get laid off. One thing can happen and that's it. Granted, yes, for some people, but majority of the time you can find another job. But look at 2020, a lot of people cannot find another job. Like there's things that happen that are unpredictable, and like you just can't control everything. And to me, having a job isn't the most secure, because the decision of the amount of money you make and when you leave, like how long you have that job for and when you get fired or anything, is completely out of your control and completely out of your hands. Whereas like if you own your own business, or you have something else that is you yourself as the person making the money, you can control it and you can foresee like, okay, fuck, shit's hitting the fan. Like, and then you could go and do something. Whereas one day you could be working and just come in and just fired. Granted, it's not always like that. Sometimes you kind of know because you're not performing or whatever, but it does happen to people, and like everything goes to shit and they don't know how the fuck they're going to pay for it, their mortgage, food, to support their kids, all that stuff. And that's why people get so depressed and all that stuff. But that's why I think jobs itself are the opposite of security, because there is no security. Your security is somebody else's emotions and opinion. Exactly. It's somebody else's, it's subjective, your security. Whereas if you're on top of your own self and like controlling yourself and your money and all that stuff, then it's not subjective in the sense that it's coming from somebody else. It's subjective that it's coming from yourself.
I think that was really well said, because it's true. And I wanted to add on to what you said. One of the leading, not the leading, but one of the leading causes of suicide is loss of employment. That moment, imagine being a parent, which 7 in 10 people in this country live paycheck to paycheck with under $1,000 in the bank account, and now you found out you lost your job. You don't even have to be a parent, just an adult, and you have bills and shit. You found out you lost your job and everything like that. Like, that shit is stressful.
Yeah, 100%. And, to kind of go on more with what I was saying, the reason why I put these 3 specific trades, which are electrician, plumbing, and HVAC, is because to me, in terms of the trades, this is one that you will always have a job. Like, they're guaranteed. Like, everyone needs electricity, everyone needs plumbing, like functional plumbing, and everyone needs AC and heat, like air conditioner and heater, to survive. Like those 3 components will always be needed in any household not in order to survive, but for the most part to survive, at least in today's times. And so to me, those are like the 3 key trades to be in. And on top of that, granted, with that, you could be working for somebody else, and one day you could come in and they fire you. But with that skill, you can also freelance and do side jobs. So you could be working for somebody else, but on the weekends, you do your own thing. And in a sense, you're making your own money. Everything's going to your pocket for those side jobs. And you're basically your own business. And if you start building up a clientele, you can get out of that. And now you have people working for you. Now you become the boss. And like I said, those 3 are always and forever going to be in demand, because everybody needs electricity, everybody needs heating and air conditioning, and everybody needs plumbing. Everybody, that's always going to be in demand. So if you're looking in the trades, my personal opinion is one of those three for those reasons, because I think you can one, branch out and do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you can do your own thing while working for somebody else. So even if you do get laid off, you still have some income coming in, and you could even again branch off and start your own thing. And three, you always have a job. There'll always be a need for you somewhere, someplace.
Dude, what I wrote down here is, as long as people live in houses or a form of housing, all three of them are necessary.
100%.
And HVAC isn't just housing.
Yeah.
Every single commercial spot needs HVAC done. Every building needs HVAC done. Like, every establishment
needs those three.
Needs the three. So as long as people are living in shelter, those are necessary.
Yeah. That's why I think if you're going trade, those are the probably best three to choose from. For that reason. You can guarantee you will always have a job.
I do want to add the starting salaries for these three jobs, just because I have them written down. And these numbers are kind of tailored to our area, right? We're the tri-state area. So for plumber, typical starting salary here, according to, I think it was Glassdoor, $49,000, right? Now, again, same thing as I mentioned before. It's not the dollar amount, and it's like, oh, damn, that's not shit, right? That's $49,000 more dollars than you had before to make something else happen.
Yeah. On top of that, you can still do side jobs, make a little more, and that's starting. I know, like for the most part, the main three I listed. I know you're gonna say this is starting, but for the most part, the main three I listed, as time goes on and once people become like, is it foreman?
I think it's like 2 years and then you're out of like the...
it depends on which one. Like I know electrician, after 5 years you could get licensed, and by then you could start making like six figures and things like that. So for the most part with the three, there is room to make more and to get into the six figure range. And if you have a company that obviously best case scenario becomes super successful, you can get to the 7 figure range. But just as an employee, you can get to the 6 figure range. So there's room for improvement in terms of money.
Oh, yeah.
This is just starting.
Yeah, and this is starting with no background of nothing.
Just
this is starting for somebody who graduated high school and never did anything after that. And no, like, nothing. This is a bare fucking bones starting.
Not even like an apprenticeship or nothing?
Yeah, like, this is bare bones, right? And then it's a electrician, which they would, like, you would have to go to school, is $51,000. And like he said before, all three of them have 6 figure plus earnings potential, just with growth and experience. And lastly, HVAC was at $40K. And I think it's because HVAC has the lowest barrier to entry than the three. I believe. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Because I know some states you don't, like Jersey, to get into HVAC, you don't need like licensing or anything to have your own company. Well, I shouldn't say to have your own company. Actually, no, I might be wrong. Jersey, you might do it. You might need it. New York City, I don't think you do. In New York City, I don't think a license is required to like move up or start a company or anything like that. You just got to have experience, if I'm not mistaken. But I know it's not as important in the city to have the license as it is in Jersey. So,
hey, take that with a grain of salt. Probably New York City, no license required. That's no barrier to entry. Yeah. Just got to get in the game.
Yep. And they go off like a experience kind of thing. But, yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, but not, you started it, right? You started with trades. So I'll do the next one. I have a couple of things written down. The next one I have, it's good, but...
Big old booty.
The only thing is, it goes against everything that I said about the trades. In the sense that it is a job. So the sense of security and like volatility is very different. It's sales and marketing. The reason why I have this is because one, with sales, you can make a shit ton of money if you become really good at it. But if you have if you do bad for a short or maybe long period of time, depending where you work, they will X you out immediately. So it is very volatile. Like, you could be up one quarter and the next quarter you don't have a job anymore. So granted, it depends where you're working, but it could go that way. Like, some companies are a little softer on it, and some companies are more cutthroat about it. But the room for money is there, and the room for barrier to entry is not as egregious as, like, being a doctor, for example. Like, you can get into a sales position without having a degree. Also, I put marketing because I feel like sales and marketing kind of work together hand in hand, because marketing kind of does some sales. I think marketing is a good skill to have, though. And I think sales in general, besides like actually working for a job, is a good skill to have, because it teaches you, one, about yourself. It teaches you work ethic, grit, all that stuff.
Human interaction.
Yep. And then it also teaches you how to sell. And if you can sell, or you have sales experience, for the most part, you can always find yourself a job.
Yeah.
Every company needs salespeople, because that's how the company makes their money. The backbone of the business is sales and marketing. That's how they're making their money for the most part. And then marketing, again, super important, because one, you can make a lot of money with it. But two, if you're a good marketer and you decide to start your own business, for example, well, you have a general understanding of how to market your business and how to sell your business if you're in sales / marketing, which, again, kind of go hand in hand. They work together. So I think those two are very important. There's room for a lot of money, but it is very volatile. You can lose your job very fast. But you can also replace jobs a little easier.
So I want to clarify what you were saying, just to like make it make sense to the average person who knows nothing about sales. Marketing and sales, you can think of it two ways. Imagine marketing handling the inbound, so people, who see an advertisement and call in and want more information. That's inbound sales. You're taking the call and you're convincing them, even though their interest is already slightly piqued. And then there's outbound, where it's like you getting on the phone and calling people who don't want to be called at 1 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, right?
Yeah.
And talking to them and introducing them to the idea of the business or whatever it is that you're selling. Two different kinds of sales, both extremely, extremely fucking important. Understand that any business that has clients or customers needs to sell, and they can't sell at a steady pace, because then that means the business is dying. They need to be increasing in sales constantly. If a business stops increasing in sales, that means they're losing money, and that's how businesses die. Sales is important.
It's a very important skill. So if it's something you become good at, it can work very well in your favor, where you can make a ton of money, or you could also lose your job right away. But if you have the experience and the skill, you can always find yourself a new job, because, again, every company needs sales. That's how they make their money. They need people to work sales. So there's demand for the job and the skill. And two, if you decide to branch out and do something of your own, it's a good skill to have. And also just a good skill to have in day-to-day life, because every interaction you have in life is sales and marketing. How you're dressed is how you're presenting yourself, is how you're marketing yourself, and how you speak and how you interact, and how your personable skills and all that stuff is you're selling. You're selling an idea of you to somebody else, and whether you know it or not, and they're making a perception and having a perception and making a judgment based off of that, based off how you look, how you dress, how you talk, and everything like that. So even in just day-to-day interaction life, sales and marketing applies every single day.
Sales is a life skill.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require college. So.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's no college degree required to get in, at least, especially in the tech field.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
you get into tech with a lot of things without a degree. It's a little hard to get into tech, but then once you get into tech, it's like, you're good.
The thing
you
with tech,
stay in tech.
Yeah. The thing with tech is, one, it's not going anywhere, and two, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. You just gotta, everything's a numbers game. If you know how to code, but you might not be the greatest fucking JavaScript and fucking Python and C++ developer ever, but you know a few things and you've built a portfolio. It's just a matter of putting out enough resumes to where eventually, I actually said this to somebody today, you throw out enough lines, eventually a fish is going to catch it. Yeah. Or it's going to catch a, I don't know, I don't fucking fish.
You get the reference.
Yeah, it's going to catch something, right? And that's with anything. It all takes just one, like, you know what, yeah, we'll take an interview.
Yeah.
And then you go into the selling yourself in the interview. Because at the end of the day, you're selling yourself as to why you're the best candidate and why that's the job for you. Because it might not be the job for you. Could be in an interview and be like, nah, this shit's actually trash. You know, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think that's an easy transition into coding.
Yeah, okay.
Like, there's no way around that. But the next one that I had was, in fact, learning how to code. And learning how to code is just the umbrella for finance, right? Finance, for tech. Because there's things like data analysts. There's things like software engineers, full stack developers, back end developers, front end developers. You could even not know how to code and be a project manager. Like, there's so many jobs. Cybersecurity.
UX, UI design.
Designers. Tech sales. Like, there's so many aspects of tech to get into that tech is a wide range. Now, for the sake of this conversation, I just wrote down the more coding fields, which in the description, I'll list some different positions as well that you can do in their average starting salary too. But coding, man, I want to say it's the future, but it's not. It's the present, the future, and everything after that. Like, everything that you see on the screen or in your phone or anything like that, somebody sat down and typed in the lines of code for that. So now imagine everything that's coming forward needs to be coded by somebody. And the thing is, businesses are getting smart. They're like, oh shit, we have 5 coders right now. But if we have 7, that's like, yo, we're going to progress even more and make even more money. Fuck 7, let's get 10. Like, businesses are getting smarter and realizing the more people they hire, the faster their service could be, the stronger their products could be, meaning the better business will be. So coding you can't even understand how valuable coding is right now in society.
Yeah, it's in demand too. I mean, tech is the future. So tech isn't going nowhere, that's for sure. Everything we have is technologically advanced. Mm-hmm. And the next thing we have is going to be more advanced than that. And that only occurs if you have tech. If you look at like Silicon Valley, the majority of tech companies that start, the amount of funding they get is insane. Because that's the future. Everybody's betting on on one of those tech companies to hit big like Google and become the future. If you see how the funding they get, it's insane. Like in the Series C funding, they'll get like 20, 30, $50 million fundraise. It's insane the amount of money investors are throwing at them.
Look, money like that doesn't land in your lap by accident.
Yeah.
It's because enough people looked at this and said, this is going to win, and I'm going to make sure I win with it. Here's $50 million.
Yep.
Like, and it's crazy because you look at things like Apple, right? One of the most valuable assets in the world is Apple stock. Started out as a little garage project. Progress throughout the years. Firing Steve Jobs, rehiring Steve Jobs, right? Like everything down the line. Largest business in the world. Think about how Apple has ingrained into society. Tech, we are one with tech already. Elon Musk said on the Joe Rogan podcast, everybody talks about the day where, AI joins our lives, and he was like, no.
It's been part of our life.
Yeah.
You never heard of Siri?
Siri. Apple Music. Maybe not Apple Music. Spotify knows what you want to hear before you even think it. It's because how many times do you hear on shuffle a song where you're like, oh, wow, I forgot about this song. This song is so good. Like, you think that's by accident? Like, no, these algorithms, fucking TikTok, bro, knows you more than you.
Yeah. I saw Joe Rogan talking about it the other day. In the terms and agreements, like he read some things. I don't remember everything word for word, but basically he was saying like, you basically granted them permission to see what apps you have downloaded on your phone, how often you open those apps, how often you use those apps. What's it called? They basically have access to everything, like everything, and like just talk about something next to your phone, and next thing you know, it comes up. Another thing is, if you hang out with somebody enough and your phones are close enough with each other for a long period of time, when you start seeing advertisements, you may see advertisements you've never seen before. Those are actually advertisements being shown from the person you were next to's interest. So your ads will switch to show who you're around is interested in, because maybe it'll catch your attention too.
Think about it. Let's say we're hanging out right now, right? And you mentioned, yo, I really like X watches, right? Yo, I never really seen X watches. Like, never really caught my attention. Scrolling, oh shit, X watches. Next day, scrolling, oh shit, X watches. Next day, oh shit, I actually kind of like this watch. I had exposure. Yeah. And guess what? One of the biggest forms of marketing, and anybody will say, is word of mouth.
Oh, 100%.
So now that you brought it up, and these phones that are listening to every fucking conversation, now I'm starting to see it. Guess what? That shit, it's ingrained.
Yeah.
The likelihood of me buying now is really high.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't remember what we started off with, but tech is the future.
Yeah, tech is here to stay, bro.
And with everything going digital and Web3 and all of that, I think this one is is part of coding, but I think it's key that every company needs and requires, especially if they're a digital company, is cybersecurity.
Oh yeah.
Like if you could become a cybersecurity analyst or know how to code for cybersecurity and all that stuff, they'll pay you good money because you're protecting the asset. Without you there, anyone can hack their asset and pretty much take it. It's online. Who are they gonna what are they gonna do about it?
Yeah.
If somebody could change IP addresses and all that, they'll never be able to know who is it and who did it, and they're just gonna wipe them out. So cybersecurity is huge now that everything is becoming more and more and more digitalized as well. And then UX and UI design is just as important too, because those companies that are digital and have websites, it's not the software engineer that created the design of the website. It's the UX UI designers who create the design and then send the tickets to the software developers and engineers who then put in the code for the website. So they're needed too. They're in demand because without them, you don't have a good looking website. So you need UX UI designers as well. That's another aspect and another barrier of entry into tech. And then of course the front and back end developers and full stack, which means you do both. So like the Java, AWS is super big now. CSS, Python, those kind of languages. Good to know.
Also coming into the age of crypto, coders are needed.
Blockchain analysts too.
Just to talk some salaries here now. Oh, but before we get into that, the salaries, fucking remote work though, bruh.
I wish I was 5 days remote. I'm hybrid, but 5 days would be better.
5 days remote? Oh, that'd be so fire. A lot of these jobs are 100% remote, man.
Yeah. Think of, well, we had we work together in the sales, we do sales at a tech company. We had a sales event and a guy came who owns his own business. Coincidentally enough, it's a cybersecurity business. None of his employees work in the state he works in, or he's only met his employees, all of them together one time ever. They are all remote workers. Yep. They only interact with each other over Zoom. They've only all been together in one room together one time ever. And he owns a cybersecurity business. It's fully remote. Like they're just sending you tickets and you're just getting the work done, and that's it. As long as you get your work done, like you're chilling. I'm sure it's hard work depending on the company, what it is and what they need, and it's long work. But I mean, at least you don't have to spend an hour and a half commuting, code for 8 hours, and it's come an hour and a half back. At least you're already home. Mm-hmm. And if you could get it done in 4 hours that day, you got 4 hours back to now do something better and something else.
Bro.
Yeah, remote work is
just so valuable.
I wish I could be 5 days.
Oh my God, my life would be so good.
But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna get into salaries.
Okay, yeah, do that. Cause I was gonna change that.
So, these are just rattling off some positions, in ascending order. I have starting out here is the web developers, right? So things like, HTML, CSS, maybe some JavaScript, right? Starting salaries, $75,000, bro. $75,000.
Nice.
Then you have front end developers, right? Which is just doing the look of the website, right? Where it's like same thing, HTML, JavaScript, some CSS. 79,000. Did I say 79,000 twice?
No, I think you said 70.
Yeah, so 75 for web development, 79,000 for front end development. Then you have next in line UX UI coming in at a whopping $87,000 fucking dollars a year, and that's just
this is all starting.
Yeah, starting, right? That stands for user experience and user interface, right? So user interface designs it, like experience creates it and makes it like
the functions.
Make sure that design can actually work, right? So they go hand in hand. Some do both, some do one. So $87,000 starting salary. Like, that's a good fucking living right there to improve your life.
Yep.
Next in line, we have back-end developers. So this is things like Python, C++. My mind is drawing a blank. But these are like the more back-end languages.
Python.
We have starting $102,000. Now, and if
you're full stack, it's probably a little more, right?
Yeah, I forgot. I wrote full stack somewhere.
Full stack just means you could do front and back end.
Yeah. Why can't I find it? I lost it in my own. Did I write it? That was for So, $114,000. Starting salary. Starting.
That's crazy.
You get now, and also a lot of these developers build a lot of wealth because some of them get into these tech startups where they're like, hey, we can't afford to pay you $250,000 a year. Here's $200,000 and equity.
Yeah.
Right? So now you have a percentage of the company.
IPO.
Company IPOs. You sell your shares. Bam. That's even more money.
Yeah.
Which I think that's actually more valuable than the salary.
Yeah, depending how the stock does and all that, yeah, for sure. I mean, regardless, because you're still getting that money.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's crazy, man. There's money to be made out there. It's just getting creative, and then more than anything is just applying it. You have to apply. There's one thing to know that you could do the skill. It's one thing to learn a skill. It's another thing to apply it. All of it means nothing if you don't apply it.
Yeah.
It's like there has to be action in order for there to be a reaction. So
application is key.
Yep. With that being said, I'm going to transition to the next not topic. I was about to say the next top skill. You see what I'm saying? I'm stuttering. Anyways, the next skill that I think is beneficial, and I hope I can translate it correctly through camera, but it's copywriting, and not copywriting in the sense of like legal copyrights, like copywriting in the sense where you're
writing copy.
You're writing copy for a product that's being sold. And like the biggest example of it is emails you probably get where somebody's trying to sell you a product in an email. That email is considered copywriting. Yeah. And believe it or not, especially if you're skilled at it, if you work for a company and you're as a copywriter and you're skilled, you can make good money. And some people even go the own route of having their own business with their own clients that make great money doing it. It's a very valuable skill because in a sense, copywriting is sales and marketing at the same time. But more than anything, it's sales. you're basically selling through email copywriting. It's another form of sales, just without having to actually call the people. You're just writing and typing it out, but in a way where it intrigues the person enough to want to click and learn more and then end up purchasing. So it's a very good and valuable skill, especially because everything's going digital. So there's no need to put stuff up in mom and pop shops when you can email blast 1,000 people the same email with one click of a button.
And bam.
Yeah. So copywriting is very valuable. I think if you don't know it, at least look into it and just trying to at least get an understanding of what it is. But if you do want to get into it, you can make serious money if you become good at it. Obviously, like anything in the beginning, you probably might suck, but as time goes on, you get better. And if you're already like a good writer, then that's a head start. And then it can help translate again if you start your own business. Typically, you're not gonna have like employees for delegated positions in the beginning. You're gonna have to do everything yourself. So if you have if you have sales and marketing background and then you learn copywriting, you've pretty much solidified the whole sales process where you have the marketing down, you have the sales down in terms of like actually talking and
being
stuff.
able to handle.
But also with the copywriting, it also goes hand in hand with the marketing and the sales, because when you see ad campaigns, even on Instagram and stuff, the words in the ad campaigns and the descriptions, that's all copyright. That's all done by copywriters. They write all that stuff out. It's not like a marketer doing it. So having those 3 skills go perfect. And if you just happen to have a friend, a cousin, or maybe yourself, you know how to code, you can literally create the entire business by yourself. Yeah. You can literally create the website, the functionalities of it, the marketing procedures, the sales process, the copy for all of your marketing and sales. Literally can function a whole business off of that. But at least just knowing copywriting itself is a skill that will pay well in its own. But if you know other skills, then it can amplify it.
Yeah. It can go really well with other things, but God, there's some money to be made in copywriting.
Yeah, bro. Some people make great money in copywriting. Once you build a clientele, kill it. We know what I've seen some people do is they write Twitter threads, because many businesses have started to, especially tech and especially crypto, Twitter is like huge for them. So a lot of people who are freelance copywriters try to build followings on Twitter for copy and try to get companies to notice them that way. So it's another route you could go about it, and maybe find people who are writing copy. Because again, there are things you read all day, every day. It's all written by copywriters. Everything was copyrighted. Any ad or marketing campaign you see, a copywriter wrote the words out. The marketer maybe came up with the idea, but the copywriter wrote the stuff out.
The marketer brings it to the table and the copywriter says, no, that's not digestible. It's got to be said this way.
Yeah. But that's another skill to learn.
Fire one. I didn't even think of that. Let me see.
Do you have one, or you want me to go to my next one?
You go on to your next one. We touched on all of mine.
But so the next one I have is videography and editing skills. Again, going to the digital age. So social media is very important for companies, and having a social media presence, and a good presence too. And they need people to film campaigns for them, so that requires videographers, editors, photographers, maybe even graphic designers to design stuff for them. But more than anything, videography and editing, you can do so many things with that. One, you can run social media campaigns for companies. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber or a social media influencer. They need somebody to film them and edit their videos.
It's true.
So there's demand for that. What else was I gonna say? Damn, I just had another idea. I forgot. Video and editing. I forgot what the other one I was gonna say. But you get the gist of it. Like, if you have a good skill set in editing videos and recording videos, for the most part, you can freelance it, or you can even find a company if they're big enough to pay you to manage their social media. And you become a social media manager or run campaigns for it, where marketing teams will hit you up and want to work with you.
Oh yeah, and it could do that. Can become an ambassador for these brands too. Like, social media marketing has a lot of different routes because there's so many. It's different when you're running ads, right, on the internet versus when you're running ads on social media, but also leveraging regular people for your ads. Like, hey, you know, the budget for this is $10,000. You know, hey, I pay you $2,000 to run a post with this and sponsor this. Like, that's all social media marketing, the sponsorships and things like that.
Yeah, the other idea I was going to say was music videos. That's another way to go about it. Some people are very successful with it. It could be difficult, but there are some people who have good success in it. And also, like, if you yourself want to have a social media presence, you already have the skill set to do it. Granted, it might be hard to record yourself, but at least you know how to edit yourself. So that's still something to look at. And then the last one, my second to last one, because I wrote one down. How to fly a plane. That, believe it or not, it's in demand. Like, commercial pilots are in demand. Listen, I don't want to say airline names, but all I'm saying is there's a few I've been on. I don't know, these pilots were too qualified, bro. I questioned if I was going to survive or not a couple times.
You know exactly who the fuck you are.
You know exactly who we're talking about. There's two specific airlines in it. And one may make you want to visit some...
questionable...
How do I say the word without saying the word? Some may make you want to some may make you a spirit. And some of them just like happen to come from America.
Yeah.
So, you know,
an airline from America. Damn. I can't think of any.
Yeah. All I know is pilots are in demand right now, and they pay well. Pilots make bread.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about bread. Yeah, they do make good money, right? It's like 6 figures for the most part.
I don't know why I didn't write it down for the podcast.
I don't know. I don't know how much how long it takes to get there, but I know they make good money, and it's in demand, because there's not a lot of pilots right now.
There's actually a shortage of pilots right now.
Yeah, that's why.
Commercial pilots.
Yeah,
like
commercial.
Regular planes and shit. And
yeah, I'm sure it takes time to get to the commercial level too, or maybe if you were military, you flew like the cargo planes. It's a good thing. I mean, I'm sure the majority of them already go into that, but. Like, when I get on a plane, bro, and I hear, like, my pilot's ex-military, I'm like, oh, I'm chilling.
Yeah, we good.
I'm sleeping good this flight. This guy knows what he's doing. But, no, yeah, for real. If that's something you're interested in, it's in demand. Everyone's hiring.
That's a good one.
Everyone's hiring. And then the last one I had put, it wasn't on my list originally, but I wrote down, was for a top skill to have is networking.
Oh, yeah.
A networking skill. I think being able to be personable and being able to network with many individuals and make connections with them is very valuable for you in life, because sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And sometimes you may not always be the most qualified person for a position, but because of who you know, you get it over somebody else. And I'm sure many of us have experienced it in life where we felt we were more qualified, better, and more experienced at a certain task or thing, and somebody else got it over us just because of like the politics. They knew that person on a personal level. They got it over me, even though I was more deserving of it.
Yeah.
And that's in anything. Like, it could be job related, it could be sports related, it could be anything. Like, I'm sure the majority of us have at least experienced it one time in our life. And that's a perfect example of having a powerful network. Like, if you can network and know a lot of people who do a lot of different things, you can always find yourself to be all right for the most part, because you have a lot of doors you can open and go through to help get you to where you need to be.
Yep. Like, I don't know who's the originator of the quote, but your network is your net worth.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
There's a lot of people who just know a lot of people. They're really good at bringing people together. Therefore, they're worth a lot for what they can offer in that aspect.
Yeah. It's about being personable, but also being able to provide value as well. So anytime you can bring value to somebody's life, for the most part, they're going to want you around. I don't know who doesn't want somebody around that is beneficial to them. So network is very important, and it's a good skill to have. And yes, it is a skill because some people lack the social skills. So if you're one of those people, then maybe that's something you should start working on, because again, your network will get you into places that you otherwise would not have gotten into. So networking is very important and a very valuable skill.
Don't doubt the power of a good, strong network.
Yep. Some people have become very successful just because of people they knew. So, yeah, with that being said, that's all of my list.
And that's all of mine, too. I like how, if necessary, we can end off with this. We started with that.
But yeah, anyways, that's my personal opinion on the top skills to learn. I may have missed some. You may disagree with some. Who knows? Comment down below and let me know.
Comment down below if you think there's some that are more valuable than these.
Or if you disagree with any of them and our take on it or on anything we said. But yeah, or if you agree too, just comment down below and let us know that you agree and you found it valuable and helpful. But yeah, with that being said, Lost Boyz Podcast.
Episode 21.
Yeah, I forgot the episode number. Episode 21. Peace out.
Peace.